and after. Ta-da! Look at it.
Catherine getting ready for our quick chat.
I'm dressed now.
So it's awesome to catch up with you, Catherine, and to get a chance for us to just bounce thoughts off each other. I thought, especially given how everything that's going on globally is impacting us within the home, and so I thought it would be really cool just to talk about that and talk about positivity and getting your mindset right, given everything that's been going on. So how have you been?
Well, it's been interesting because one of my favourite things to do in life, Jackie, is to be curious.
Yeah.
And so when something happens, you know, and you know, we're seriously having something happen that's bigger than what any of us could have imagined or depicted.
Yeah.
To take the opportunity to get really curious, and I found myself doing that as soon as I heard about this virus. I've got children who are living overseas. I had a son who was studying at Taipei University in Taiwan.
Excuse me.
And yeah, so as a mother, so this is where we're doing the Zoom call over.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
now we're like coughing into your arm. Yeah.
I can spray my germs everywhere in my office.
Exactly, that's right. Yeah, hooray for Zoom. But you know, I found that for me, it was about coming back into the curiosity that I've taught myself to have, and to really deeply sit in that place of, I wonder what miracle awaits.
Yeah.
I wonder what this is really about, and I found myself really staying curious more and more and more. And I think that I'm probably a lot like you, Jackie, in the fact that, you know, I know that you are probably one of the, you know, most positive people that I know, and it's maintaining that positivity. But I also think having a degree of realism as well, and I think that's been a big shift in me.
Yes, I found that I went through when this all happened. So I sort of sensed it a couple of weeks before, and I was telling everyone at home, we need to be in lockdown, we need to be in lockdown. And they were all telling me I was overreacting. And then suddenly the government calls it, and everyone's accepted it suddenly.
Mm-hmm.
So I sort of got to that point.
Jackie the president. Jackie the president.
I got to that point, and so then by the time it happened, it was still a shock though. I still found myself, it was really interesting that first, the day that Jacinda announced it, I cried after she announced it. I sort of sat there and then I cried, and then I thought our world will never be the same as we know it. Nothing is going to be the same. And all sorts of levels, spiritual, physical, global, nothing's going to be the same because as I think you said in one of your videos, that it's like a huge reset. It's and so I just sensed that, and I found it quite overwhelming. And then I probably had a good day of worry about it, and then once I'd worried about it, which just, I guess is just to say that's really normal, just to go through the process, I guess, of grief, of letting go of what the world as we knew it, and then establishing how we feel about potential, and so thinking about how exciting it could be. So,
when you think about what's been happening in our world, Jackie, we are literally, we have been, and I say we as a collective, we've been addicted to busyness, to materialism, to drama, to spending, to excess, to self-sabotage, and suddenly all of this stops because all we are able to do is to be at home. And to me, that represents a whole shift in the bigger picture of being at home with ourselves.
Yes.
You know, coming back into ourselves and realizing that, you know, that we're all going to have to go through some shifts. And I like to think of it actually as like a caterpillar, you know, going into the cocoon. So it, you know, it goes into the cocoon, and it's dark, right? And it's uncertain of what's to come.
Yes.
And then it waits.
And for it, life is over.
It waits. Yeah. But when it emerges, it understands the process it had to go through. but not before. It's like intuitively they know to go into the cocoon, right?
Yeah.
And it understands that its former life had to end in order for it to live into its true potential of being the butterfly.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel that is existing and evolving for us. And that's the curiosity side of me. It's like, wow, what old way of living and being do we as humanity have to end in order for us all to now begin to live in a new way, in a new light, in a new way of acting, even in business, right, Jackie?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we've been, my company is a training company, the Great Scott Company. So we do workshops in person around New Zealand and Australia. And so we've only ever done it that way. And then last year I started to develop some online coaching where, you know, if somebody was in Napier, way away from Auckland where I live, that then they could contact me through Skype. So we started with Skype. And then suddenly Zoom came on the scene and I thought, I've got to give this a go. So I gave that a go. And then this year, with everything that's happened, I had been using Zoom a little bit and then thought, well, we've got these 2 courses, these programs, major programs, and to help people to get back into work. And so I thought, well, why don't we just get some planning underway to get those online? And so my 2 trainers have embraced that. And so then in just over a week, we've got 2 programs running online, which we've never done before. So what an awesome growth opportunity for us as a business to, you old hat at this, Catherine, at doing online coaching, online speaking, you know, you've done lots of that. But for someone like me, where I was tried and true about the touch, the feel, the in-person senses that you get from a workshop, and then we've just done interviewing online of people that are going to be attending the course, and it's been fantastic to see people in their own habitat. I just said last night, I've loved watching the news and seeing people that are being interviewed sitting in their, you know, the Minister of Health or someone, you know, different people that are sitting in their homes on the couches. And how cool is that? Just to see people in the right space instead of, you know, it's just my office. So this is where I spend a lot of my time. So it's been...
and not having to go anywhere and get on the roads and
I mean,
take up energy.
Anyone who lives in a city knows what it takes to get ready and then get yourself in the truck and then get out there on the road and wait you and then get to an appointment, find parking, get rained on, and then get to the appointment and still try to let you in. And now I just get out of bed. That's, you know, that's the biggest part. Get out of bed and get myself ready, and then here we are. We can do whatever we want from here. How fantastic!
Absolutely. And it's what I'm finding fascinating too is kind of looking at the new things, like you were just saying, that are being invented out of this. And it's been fascinating having been in business and observing at a higher level, because I've been doing quite a lot of work with corporates and organizations, and you know, our pipeline was significantly reduced last week as a result of the coronavirus. And I've started to talk to other New Zealand business leaders and trying to understand the signs and what to expect. And you know, some of the leaders that I get to speak to have that, you know, this is not their first rodeo. You know, they've been through the 98 crash, they've been through the 2007 crash, and now they're into this one, which happens to also, you know, the GFC combined with a pandemic. So we've got a double whammy. But there were 3 steps that they talked about, which I thought was quite fascinating. The first one is we have to accept and acknowledge that people are going to be in panic and overwhelm for the first few days. Yeah. And you spoke about that, about, you know, that feeling like when you knew it was actually happening, the shutdown, then, you know, that sense of that anxiousness, and that's understandable. So the panic and overwhelm is, oh my God, what am I going to do with my people? What am I going to do with my contracts? How am I going to make money? How am I going to pay my bills? And the more information that we're getting from the government, and the more information we're getting out of, you know, these reports, the more that can settle. And I reckon that by kind of Tuesday, Wednesday next week, so that's what 5 days after the shutdown, lockdown, then people will start to then go into a space of, oh, I've got time to get my head around my strategy. And that's almost like a space where, you know, for those of us that are going out there and you know, being of service to people and helping organisations with trainings and upskilling and learnings, etc. That's a time to go and acknowledge them and reassure them and say, hey, look, I'm here and this is how I can contribute and this is how I can help. Because right now I'm imagining that you're going into the strategy and you're getting some real clarity, right? And then get their agreement. And then stage 3 is they're going to need people to help to build take the plan and put it into action. They're going to need that community around them of people who can come together for the greater good and actually put it into implementation. And so there's just so much opportunity out there, and as long as we look past the chaos and the beginning, and then allow ourselves to sit and reassure our clients, reassure our customers, and then let them know that we're there, and you know, get ourselves match fit for what's coming out the other side.
That's a great way of putting it. Match fit. That's exactly what we're doing. It's thinking, what does the new way of working look like? What do our new lives look like? And what can we do differently? And so how do we get ourselves match fit for that? I like that too.
Yeah. So I'm doing my daily yoga to get myself house fit.
We're walking. We can still walk around the block, which is really good. So
that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah,
it's the other thing that I'm loving through this, which we would never have had the chance to do, is being forced as a family to spend time around the table, everybody together. We've got 6 in our house at the moment in lockdown, so that's 4 20-plus-year-olds and then Mick and myself, my partner. And so it's been awesome to sit around the table, share stories, laugh, play games, play cards. You know, it's just been amazing to just
home cooked meals
and re-earth with each other. Like I call it re-earthing, to reset back with each other and really face.
And I think at the same time realizing that you know, sitting in the gratitude of that. Right, you know, just because there are going to, and you know, I want to acknowledge this, that there are going to be a lot of people who are going to feel lost, isolated, abandoned. They're going to, you know, at some level feel alone in one way or another. And I think that it's truly important for us, for those of us that are lucky enough that are in isolation with loved ones, that we remember those that are not as fortunate, and this is the power of this time, isn't it, to be able to make these kind of calls and check in on people and to, you know, to consider others. And I think that's going to help to build humanity through this too.
And that's the other beauty of technology, is that imagine going through this without the technology that we've got now. Like on Friday, I had a midday Zoom drinks with girlfriends.
Yes.
It was fantastic. So we all got to catch up, and it felt like we were all just sitting around the table together. And and now more girlfriends want to join for this Thursday. We're having another one.
I love it.
Yeah, and so we're so lucky that we've got this technology nowadays, because I saw somebody on Facebook the other day, and I really felt for her, because she said that she was alone and felt quite isolated, and her birthday was next day, and so that's where you really need to reach out. People who know are alone, and arrange stuff with them so that they feel included. I think
there's that. Yeah, there's a new app, Jackie, called House Party, and it launched at very clever timing of its launch, and so my girlfriends and I on Friday night we got together and we put on crazy hats and crazy wigs and sat around and had Friday night drinks together and laughed and cajoled, and there was no sense of order or structure to the gathering. It was just, we just ended up laughing most of the time. It was brilliant. But it's that kind of thing that's been quite surprising to come out of this far. And I think that the more we can look at, you know, how we can keep coexisting with our community and, you know, appreciate those that are around us, then it's going to be a spectacular time out the other side of this.
I just saw a Tony Robbins video, and he said that beneath the surface of fear is your greatest lesson. And I just sort of feel like there are so many lessons in this, that I've always said that silence is the best mirror. And so if you are isolated, I found when I was single for 14 years, I found that I had initially I had a fear of being alone and isolated. And when Bailey got off to her dad's and I'd be at home alone, I used to get quite anxious about that. And then this friend of mine said that to me, that silence is the greatest mirror. And I thought, wow, that's so profound. That what is it? What's going on here is that I don't want to have to sit with myself. I don't want to have to just talk with myself in my head. I don't, for me, it was more about me than other people. And and I found that once I came to a place of acceptance of me and enjoying me and finding things I loved, like cranking up the music really loud and dancing around in my lounge and just watching a movie if I wanted to watch a movie, and sleeping in and making my favourite things, or going, not that you can do that now, but going to a cafe. But if you make yourself your favourite coffee and your favourite drink, and savouring it and grabbing a book or learning knitting. I wish we had the technology back then too, because with YouTube I probably would have learned. I've got a piano. I wish I'd taken that time to learn the blooming piano. I'd probably be doing concertos by now.
There you go. Yeah. No, I love that concept, and it reminds me of a video that I saw the other day with one of my mentors, Dr. Nido Kubain, and he started a university called High Point University, and I think it's in South Carolina. And anyway, he talked about in times like this, the importance of having structure in your day. And he talked about having the three aspects of your day being and what this does is this keeps you like you talked about having the time to kind of come back and remember what you love about spending time with yourself. Well, this is a way of structuring that. He talked about that a third of your time should be earning, wherever you can. A third should be learning, and a third should be serving. And so if we took our time, and those of us who've got more time, then you've got obviously more ways to think about this. But what can you be doing that so that you are learning? So when we come out of this, you've got new skills to your bow. And then what serving can you be doing because of the fact that this is such a big time to be building community and being of service, whether it's to your neighbour that you can check in on, or whether it's about starting a Facebook group and inspiring and enlightening people along the way. I think it's really great. And I think the other one too that we were talking about before, Jackie, is that you talked about the surrender, right? And I think one of the things that I've learned in all the years, and Jackie, you and I have had some great discussions about this, that it's the more and more I surrender, the more I realize that this saying is so true, and that is, it's God's way, not my way. It's God's timing, not my timing. It's God's plan, not my plan. And that comes from a quote from Florence Scovel Shinn, who wrote a book back in the 30s, 1930, called The Game of Life. And for those of you who understand this concept, you'll realize that the more that we let go and surrender and accept what is, then the more at peace we'll feel, and therefore the better it can unfold. And I mean, it's kind of crazy to think that this is part of God's plan, or the universe's plan, but all we can do is stay curious and wonder what miracle can await for ourselves personally, and for humanity, and for the greater good out of this. Because I feel genuinely, Jackie, like when we come out of this, nothing will be the same again. We won't take things for granted the same way. We'll be existing in a different way. We'll have a greater respect for Mother Earth and for each other. And hopefully we would have really experienced and felt what it's like to step off the hamster wheel of life, and be more in a place of acceptance of what is.
Yeah.
Mm.
Brilliant. Oh, thanks for sharing, Catherine. And it's been really good to catch up with you. So I hope that people have got some little nuggets from today, and that they can take away and feel like, one, that they're not alone in their feelings, and that there's hope, and there's some awesome glitter that's going to fall from what's happening at the moment. Even though the skies might look grey where you are, there's some glitter that's going to fall from this. And it's a huge opportunity for finding, I guess, what our real purpose is. And I think sometimes we've been, as you said, on the hamster wheel, we've got distracted from our true purpose. And so this gives people a time to really self-reflect, think about what they want in the new world, how it's going to be, and and just to be still. There's a great verse in the Bible that says, "Be still and know that I'm God." And gosh, that's been my verse for my life. So when I want to keep going and keep controlling and keep doing and creating, and He says, "Hang on a minute, just stop." Because I've got this sorted. I've got your future plan. I've got these things, awesome things in store for you. If you just stop for a minute. And now I have to stop. So
I know, right?
okay, I get it. So I hope I hope that people can take something away from today. As always, Catherine, so good to see you. And we'll have another session soon. Mwah.
Sounds amazing. You take care of yourself and your beautiful family.
You too.
Right. Lots of love.